Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the analysis of the poem that is called Noise Praises. This poem was written by Jwani Mwaikusa, and it is from the collection of poems that is called Sermons, poems from Tanzania. Therefore, in Tanzania, this poem is used in English language syllabus. Listen to the poem below. I shout and scream your praises, ceaseless noise places that deafen the ears, blind the sight, destroy the brain, and kill the senses. So I am not aware of anything but song and scream and shouts and noise praises. I walk through fire and ice, through torture and torment, crossing deserts and oceans, but my senses are dead and destroyed. So I feel no pain to torture, to torment, and I have no worries because all the time I am shouting and crying and screaming and singing noise praises to your greatness, yet unheard of except through my noises. But take care, my dear Nopman. One day my chords may fall apart and shout no more. Then there will be a resurrection of senses, and the whole world shall stare at the nakedness of the ugly skeletons in your noble cupboard. Dear student, that is the poem Noise Places by Jwani Mwaikusa. But what is the poem about? The poem is about a person or a common citizen who is under harsh rule of leaders. The person speaks on behalf of other citizens who are tortured and humiliated by leaders, yet they are silent and they do not complain but keep praising their leaders hypocritically. The persona says, I shout and scream your praises. What are the themes that can be found in this poem? The first theme is brainwashing. Brainwashing. Leaders have brainwashed the minds of the citizens to believe that what they do for them is right, even if it is not. Leaders torture the citizens, but the citizens do keep praising them hypocritically. The second theme is bad leadership. Some leaders are irresponsible and uncaring. They torture and humiliate people for no apparent reasons. They also torture those who criticize them. Bad leaders do not do their expected duties of helping people but exploit them. The persona says, I walk through fire and ice, through torture and torment. This shows how uncaring and how exploitative bad leaders are to their citizens. Leaders like this should, however, be dismantled. The third theme is awareness. The persona has now become aware that he and his fellows are tortured and humiliated. He then plans to shame them. He says, one day my chords may fall apart. They will fall apart, and the whole world shall stare at the nakedness of the ugly skeletons in your noble cupboard. This shows that the persona has now become aware and is not happy with the situation that is taking place in the society. The last theme I find in this poem is determination. 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 In this poem, The persona is determined to bring changes after a long period of torture and suffering and torment. The persona says, "One day my chords may fall and shout no more. One day my chords may fall and shout no more. One day my chords may fall and shout no more." The persona is also determined to telling the world about evils of leaders and spread that awareness among his people. The persona says, "Then there will be the resurrection of senses, and the whole world shall stare at the nakedness of the ugly skeletons." Dear followers, below are 3 messages from the poem. 1. Leaders must save people instead of torturing and humiliating them. Leaders must save people instead of torturing and humiliating them. It is just like the message you get is leaders were selected or are there in their positions just to help people, not to undermine them. The second message is awareness is very important in order to bring changes. Okay, this is real true that you cannot say this is not, you cannot protest unless you know what you are protesting for. So that is why awareness is very important in order to bring changes. And for this to be possible, actually it is very important people just find education by any means necessary. As Mandela, the president of South Africa, once said that education is the powerful tool that can be used to change the world. Okay, so message number 3 is determination is essential to bringing changes in the society. Determination is essential to bring changes in the society. So once you are not determined, it is simple to be threatened by the power, by the people in power, and you will easily be disappointed with your process of trying to bring justice into practice. Okay, dear students, what is the type of the poem then? Okay, can you try to count the number of verses to see if it does follow to sonnet? Okay, this poem is a modern poem. There are no rhymes. The poem does not rhyme. And there is variation of number of verses from one stanza to another. But apart from being modern, it is also a lyric because it tries to show or to express the feeling of anger and the sadness. Okay, so can we comment now on the language used? Okay, so the language used in this poem is simple and clear. However, it is also poetic. Symbols have been used, and this makes it difficult for the people who have less knowledge on literature to understand what the poem is trying to communicate. So the poet has used the symbolism as follows. Walking through fire has been used to symbolize being a situation of being in trouble due to torture. Okay, so nakedness also is a symbol that symbolizes evils done by leaders. Okay, another literary device that is used is repetition. There are different vocabularies that have been repeated several times in this poem. Vocabulary like torture and pain, and many others as you can find them. Can you reread the poem so that you get to know what are other words that have been used repeatedly? Okay, another figure of speech or rhetorical device is just iron. Okay, so the persona calls those who torture people as noble men, but in actual sense they are not noble. Okay, so like the persona says, noble man, but take care, my dear noble man. Is it true that those are noble men? No, they are not. That is ironical. In fact, those he calls noble men are his enemies. Okay, so who is the persona? Okay, now you can just figure out who is the persona, but in actual sense, a person, a persona or the speaker in this poem is just a person or a common citizen who is tortured and humiliated by leaders. The person is tortured or humiliated to the extent he feels no pain anymore. Right? Ladies and gentlemen, do you think that this poem is relevant today? Yeah, I think it is. It is relevant because there are many leaders, political and religious, who are always torturing, killing, or humiliating people. Most of those leaders are selfish and they are for their own interests instead of the interest of other people or the community they lead. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening to this presentation, but don't forget to subscribe to Gordon School of English channel. Bye.